Tyler's gonna go one more time. You can see we are practicing good quarantining processes, maintaining our 6 feet apart for most of the time, so just FYI. So one practical thing is, I see in a lot of novice operators that they have a hard time seeing their wheel tracks. Okay, so when there's no dew on the ground, someone who's not spread a lot of fertilizer can have a really difficult time getting the swath and their overlap correct. And so things I've seen people do, I've seen them go out with measuring wheels and strategically lay out the flags, and so that the operator with the center of their spreader has to hit the center of the flag every time. Or you just do it when there's dew. I've seen a lot of different techniques to be done to try to help operators actually spread correctly. So. So 15.6, so we're a little higher. So that tells me if I make a slight tweak here, maybe this will get us where we need to be. So I'm just gonna move it what they call half a letter. I'm gonna put it between M and N. This will probably be the last time if we get to where we like it. I'm gonna call that good. I can kind of see we've got some repeatability here, so. $20 pounds. Now we are at setting M.5, and we'll see if we can actually get our 14.75, putting out 5.25 pounds of product per 1,000 square feet, which is giving us a pound of N per 1,000 square feet. When you guys come back in the autumn semester, this strip will probably still be greener than the rest of the field. So again, I moved this half a letter. If we come back here and see that this has made a significant departure, like I weigh 13 pounds, I probably would just go back to my setting M and call that good and recognize that we might just be slightly undershooting our rate. I'm hoping though that this is gonna be pretty close to on the money. Take note of this dumping technique, it's tried and true. Okay, 14 pounds on the dot, so boy, we're just hovering right around it. From my experiences, you could keep going with this all day long. You really could, and you could pick the same letter and go out and get something just slightly different all the time. And that's a point that I want to emphasize. Using granular products is far from the most precise way to deliver nutrients, to deliver plant health products. You don't have the ability to not necessarily throw material onto surfaces that you don't want to. And just what we saw right here, you're relying on gravity for material to flow through a hopper. The temperature, the age of the bags, the moisture content, in the humidity, all plays a factor in this. And so to think that you're gonna get it perfect every time, I'll just tell you, in a textbook, yes. In the real world, it's hard. You kind of move around just like we saw. And so what I would do, we were very close at our setting M, and so I would go back to my setting M, and that's actually what we would apply at. If it was a product where you would actually prefer to be a little on the high end, maybe you leave it at setting M.5, but the fact that we were just a 1/4 pound off at setting M, I probably should have left it there and repeated it. So just to recap, you start again with the swath, determine the swath, then you can measure out the length of your test strip. And the only reason we do the swath first is so that the math works out to be nice and neat. Because you could do it a lot of different ways, but that's just the way that I like to do it. Weigh out a known quantity of of material, put it in the hopper, go out and walk the speed that you wish to operate at when you're actually out on the turf grass surface. And then from there, it's kind of just what we did, a checking game where you're going back and forth. Again, with this spreader, I'm going to call it setting M, is what we would want to deliver a pound of N per 1,000 square feet with our 1919 using a wheel-to-wheel application method. So I hope this video helps you. Do you guys have anything to add, Tyler, from your experiences that you've seen issues with or people screw up?
No, the only thing is not to walk too fast when you calibrate, because come the 18th green, you're definitely not going to be walking faster than you
Yeah.
when you start.
Yeah, so Tyler's just re-emphasizing the speed, and that is a great point. It's something I see a lot of times with early operators. They get a little anxious and they get out here doing these test strips and they just walk way faster than they would on the golf course. And so when you guys are in a supervisory role, letting people go out and spread fertilizer or any product granularly, you need to be watching them. You at least need to be with them for a few areas, make sure that they're doing it correctly, and depart off. If you just send them out there to do this task and assume that it's going to be done correctly, I would call that honestly a little bit of ignorance, because people don't know. They need a little bit of training. You need to provide them with that training. When you feel confident they can do it, then you can go off. But to just send somebody out and not go to check in to make sure again that they are walking at the right speed, that the helical cone setting, you know, if you're sending out 3 or 4 teams, very common. I've seen every spreader has a little different helical cone setting. I've seen situations where when they open this chute, and you can kind of see ours is doing it right now. I don't know if you can see that. If I just barely open this, it actually needs someone to push it open. So I've seen a lot of times where people just flip it open. They don't actually press it until it stops. That's a key piece. That's a very quick way to under apply all the time. You want to make sure that you're pushing that hopper open all the way. You just don't want to flip it and leave it go. So trying to think of some other things that I have seen, but you know, just in general, to think you're going to get it perfect every time is not the case. I like to get it calibrated, and then I like to have a sheet where I know the square footages of all the areas I'm going to apply. And so if I know that this field is 60,000 square feet, and I know that I'm going to apply 5.25 pounds of product per 1,000 square feet, I could do some math and determine that I'm probably going to be applying about 320 pounds of product on the total field. And so, you know, if I'm halfway done with the field and see I'm going to be way under applying, I might make a slight adjustment. So this is the first step. Then you're trying to corroborate that in the field, and it's not uncommon you might make a slight tweak in the field because you're seeing like, hey, we're just a little bit off and make a slight adjustment and get us at the correct rate. So I hope that helps you. Shane, can you come over to this machine, or why don't you just shut it off and we'll come to